Hello, and today we're going to work in your math journal on lesson 4.9, and this is some more ballpark estimate practice. You recently learned about making ballpark estimates and the reason for them. The reason that we make a ballpark estimate before we do any addition or subtraction is to find out if our answer is pretty close. If your ballpark estimate is pretty close to the real answer that you get when you solve the problem, then you can be pretty sure that you did it right. If you have a ballpark estimate that is way different than your answer, then you know that something didn't go right, so you'll need to start over and check your work again. Let's take a look at ballpark estimate number 1. Problem number 1, I see a unit box up here in the corner, and I never like to leave a unit box empty. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that unit in. And I think today we're going to add some ducks. Don't know why I picked ducks, just did. That's the fun thing about units, you get to choose. All right, ballpark estimate number 1. Box number 1 here, you should write in your journal, this is page 108, you should be writing when I write today. So follow along with me. Number 1 says to make a ballpark estimate for this addition problem, 59 plus 8. Think back to that picture of a hill with the little car that's going up one side of the hill and down the other side of the hill. The 5 is at the top of the hill, so we know that any number that ends with a 5, that means there's a 5 in the ones place, or something that's higher, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, those numbers are all on either the top or the right side of the hill. So when your car gets to the tippy top, which way would it roll? It would roll to the next highest number that has a 0 at the end. We call those numbers tens. So let's think about 59. 59 is somewhere in between 50 and 60. Well, it's very, very close to 60. So the estimate for 59 would be 60. 59 is very close to 60. So we're going to change that 59 into a 60 and add the estimate for the next number. Number 8, it's a single digit number, but it's somewhere in between 0 and 10. Is it closer to 0 or closer to 10? 8 is closer to 10. So we need to figure out what 60 plus 70 equals. I'm sorry, I just gave away the answer. 60 plus 10 equals. That makes 70. All right, so now we know that our answer when we do this addition problem down here should be something close to 70. If we're pretty close to 70, then we can be confident that we did it right. If we have an answer like 200, that's not even close to 70, so we would know then that we have to start over and fix some sort of mistake. So let's talk about how we're going to add 59 plus 8. There's a lot of ways we can do that. We could count up. We could pull out a number grid and start on 59 and go 8 spaces farther. We could pretend that we are simply adding 50, because that's a 5 in the tens place. 50 plus 8, and don't worry, I'll bring those numbers back. There's a lot of ways we could do this. What would be your choice? What way would you prefer to add 59 plus 8? I think I'm going to think about a number grid. Now I don't have one in front of here to show you. But if I started on my number grid on space 59 and went ahead 8 spaces, I'm going to land on 67. Now, another way we could do that is starting on 59, count ahead 8, so counting up or counting on. So I can do that, and I'll show you every time I count on one, I'll make a mark so I can keep track of my 8 steps. So I'm starting on 59. I would have 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67. So my answer here is 67. Now, let's not forget, is 67 pretty close to 70? Yes, it is. It's only 3 steps away. So this ballpark estimate is pretty close to the answer, which tells me we probably did this addition correctly. All right, let's try number 2. With your help here, let's make a ballpark estimate for the addition problem 67 plus 7. Is 67 closer to 60 or 70? It's closer to 70. Bring your plus sign up. What about 7? That's somewhere in between 0 and 10. Which one is it closer to? It's closer to 10. Adding 70 plus 10, what do you get for an answer? That's one step on the number grid, one step down using that shortcut. Your answer is 80. Now, when we add these numbers, we should come up with an answer that's pretty close to 80. Again, we could count on. We could use a number grid. You might even look at, this time, you might even look at the fact that you've got a 7 plus a 7. That's a doubles. You know that that's 14. And then that needs to get added to the 60. There's a lot of ways you could think about this. 67 plus 7, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74. Is 74 pretty close to 80? Yeah, that's pretty close. It can be 4, 5, 6 numbers away from it, but it should not be 20 away or 100 away. That's just too much. Great job. Let's take a look at number 3, and I would like you to work on the ballpark estimate here. So press pause now and try to come up with a ballpark estimate addition problem. And then press play again when you're ready to watch me do the ballpark estimate. So press pause now. Okay, here's what you should have come up with for a ballpark estimate. 47 is in between 40 and 50, but closer to 50. So you should have a 50 plus, let's take a look at 32. That's in between 30 and 40, but it's closer to 30. So you should have a 30, excuse me, 50 plus 30 equals 80. So your ballpark estimate should be exactly like mine if you estimated correctly and if you added those two numbers together. If it's not 50 plus 30 equals 80, you need to press pause, erase, and write your ballpark estimate correctly. Now let's take a look at 47 plus 32 in an addition problem. There's a couple of ways that we can do this. Again, you can always use that number grid. Starting on 47, take 3 steps down and 2 more steps ahead. That will get you the answer you need. Some people already know that you can, with addition, add the 7 and the 2, making that a 9, and the 4 and the 3 makes a 7. That's great. Pretty soon you're going to use another strategy, learn something called partial sums, and you can add it that way. Again, I'm going to hide these kind of here, and this is like what partial sums gets you thinking about. You can think of this as 40 plus 30. That's pretty easy. That we know that that's 70, right? And then there's a few more that we need to add on. We need to add that 7 plus 2 on again. Well, 47 plus 30 more is 77, and then I can add the 2. So that's 79. There's so many ways we can add, and that's what everyday math likes to try to teach you boys and girls, is that there's so many ways to add numbers, and everyday math likes to show you all of the ways and then let you use what's best for you. Hey, look at this. Our answer 79 is very close to our ballpark, so we know that we did this one correctly. Go ahead and do all of number 4 on your own. So press pause, create a ballpark estimate, and see if you can add those numbers and then come back and compare it to my answer when you're done. So press pause now and do all of number 4, please. All right, well, let's see here. On number 4, hopefully your ballpark estimate would look something like 60 plus 30, and that would equal 90. Curious to know which ways you chose to add, but I'm going to say something like, well, 58 plus 20 more would be 78, and then I need to add on 6 more yet. So that would be 84. You may have used number grid. You may have used a method that your parents have showed you. Either way, the answer is 84 and our ballpark estimate is 90. Those are pretty close together, so I'm sure that we did it right. Number 5 and number 6 are just the same, just that now they're introducing some numbers in the hundreds. So when making a ballpark estimate for a number in the hundreds, you're going to leave the 100 alone, but you're just going to make an estimate out of the 22. So we wanted to have a 0 at the end to make it easier. So I'm going to leave the 100 alone, kind of cover that up, maybe ignore that, and just look at 22. Is 22 closer to 20 or 30? It's closer to 20, so I'm going to just call that 120, and then add that to an estimate for 53. 53 is closer to 50 than it is to 60. So here's my ballpark estimate. I have 120 and 50 more. Think of that as 20 plus 50, and then we'll just add that 100 in the front. The answer should be 170. So now you know that when we add this up, the answer is going to be somewhere close to 170. Again, we have a whole lot of methods we could use here to add these. I could start with 122 and add on 50, and then just add 3 more. Let me try it that way. 122 in my head, 132, 142, 152, 162, 172. I just added 50, 172, and I need 3 more. 173, 174, 175. My answer is 175. It's pretty close to my ballpark of 170. I would like you to go ahead and try to do ballpark estimate for number 6 on your own. Press pause, and when you come back, I'll have it solved for you and see if you came up with the correct ballpark estimate. Press pause now. Okay, so for for number 6, you have 136. That's going to be closer to 140. And 157 is going to be closer to 160. So if you add 140 and 160, you actually have 40 and 60, which is 100 by themselves. And then here's another 100 and another 100. So that makes 300. Whoa, sorry about my writing. So when you add these two numbers down here, you should find that they come very close to 300. So let's see what I have. I have 130 and 150. I know that that's 280. 130 and 150. And then I have 13 more. 193. I'm sorry. Nope, not 193. Watch this. This is cool. It's going to actually turn into 293 because I said 130 and 150. That's 280. 280 and then 13 more. 280 and 13 more is 293. You'll learn lots of new strategies for adding those large numbers in the upcoming days, so hang in there, don't worry, we'll do it together. Good job on your ballpark estimate practice. We'll see you next time.